Shiny, plastic, black mirror fascist, obsessed capitalist. Are you feeling guilty Catholic? Pretty, picturesque Facebook status, happy family and happy marriage, like the magazine pages, superimposed with Photoshop and happy faces, where cancer doesn't exist, and your daddy lives for ages, and the black babies with the swollen bellies are only moments on your telly until you switch it off and put your makeup on. So walk your dog vegan and put your makeup on, posing perfectly pouting and put your makeup on. Hypocrite, selfie, snowflake nation, not making a difference, not voting, not independence, cause it's irrelevant to how your hair grows. You're pretty, and it's a pity that you're prepared to perpetuate your particulars on Instagram and prefer not to educate and overcomplicate an avocado. Like you know the answers to the problems of this world. Meditation and mindful. How about realistically having kids to feed on minimum wage and suicidal without letting your wife know? Cause I don't kill myself for fashion, not a psycho for the sake of it. Hate the name of it and really ashamed of it. I hate your glossy, double tongue, so in circle, talky, trashy magazine. Like Sebastian's dreams, your friends are just all plastic, and it's lonely out there. I don't care about your implants or artificial intelligence, agony ants, chitty chat irrelevance, designer shirt and pants. So keep on spending, goodbye pretty people, it's such an ugly ending. Keep pretending, keep on telling yourself that you're so important, like everyone else. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. 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 Fight for your rights, but you die to lose.
Goodbye pretty people, I'll miss you. All your little giggling and self-serving circles, self-absorbed or shallow surface. All that fucking money and totally worthless, in entirety distractive. A life without purpose, your embodiment is everything wrong. Emboldened by your Harvey Nicks arrogance, echo chamber, industrial multiplier, factory line features and adjusted plastic artifice, cosmetically cybernetic immortality activist agents. Away with your moisturizing skin armor nonsense, big and beard lotion against a Georgian backdrop. Once leads tops are a symptom of civilization in decline. Beggars rocking £100 traders with metallic shell toes. Designer baby accessories with perfect lips and a pre-birth sense of what looks fucking fabulous. It's ridiculous, marvelous, purebred, beautiful offspring of the embassy. Laughing at the wannabes that think that greed is power. The hours tick by and all you want is everything endless. You are now living in the culture with the locust consumer. Target population, pool of fashion, housing, online grooming saloons. Pretty predator class, deadly privilege picking flesh with the populace fast. The terrorist victim look is this year's heroin chic. Superior models to snap them pop-up bomb sites. Pop-up prescription antidepressants, propping up debris arranged in artistical splatter patterns. Little real ignorant exception at the tipping point. You're dragged to the ground by the teeth of natural selection. We defecate upon your form, prone upon your back and bleeding in round the scissor man. Snicker, snack, your entrified empathy, ultimately empty, dead heart, pretty face, piss upon your memory.
What is up, everybody? I have a little pep in my step this Sunday morning, so I hope you guys are all having a wonderful weekend. I don't mean to pull you away from the indie. I know all my Midwest subscribers are pretty busy with that today. This is more of a test here. What I want to do is kind of get a feel for what's going on around this time of day, who's partaking in live streams, who's interested in the Delphi case, versus who's out trolling, who's out trying to be divisive, who's, trying to sow the seeds of discourse. So it's going to be a whatever type day. Looks like we got somebody in the chat. are here with us, a live caller. So give me one moment here. Caller, are you there? Hello, caller. Well, looks like we lost him. Caller, if you'd like to reach back out, you got the link. And that goes for anybody else that's here. We have subscribers only taken off. Everybody's free to chat, free to call in. One thing I did want to talk about is what Riley said. He was being interviewed in regards to the search party. Okay. Looks like we got our caller back. Let's give this another try. Caller, are you there?
Hello. How's it going, buddy?
Is this microwave?
Yeah. Yeah.
How you doing?
Really good. Remember I talked to you like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a good call, man. I remember you. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
What can we do for you?
I had actually I had wrote down some notes that I wanted to ask you about the Delphi.
Sure.
Do you think like Keegan Klein, do you think he was involved in like a bigger pedophile ring instead of him just like working alone?
I think what he was doing was connected to something larger, or maybe somebody that he's been doing it for a while. So maybe somebody along his road of catfishing and doing whatever it is that he was doing. I'm sure he stumbled upon something, somebody else, maybe code words, phrasing. I think after a while, they probably were able to identify each other. Maybe like the Emily Ann stuff, kind of weird names like that. Throw in a middle name with it, or an Ann, or something along those lines. So I don't think he was like a big part of any ring, but I think the people that he dealt with and the people that were surrounding him, yeah, I think that he has a connection to a bigger pedo ring.
Right. Sure. Did you see in Indiana, like they just had a big sting operation and a lot of people got taken down?
Good. They've been pretty active since the whole.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe it had a connection.
Yeah, it may. There's been a lot of big, large busts involving the child porn and the CSAM and catfishing and sextortion. A lot of it was surrounding, Carroll County, Indiana, or even just connected to. For some reason, even these catfishers from out of state, they'll target Indiana for some reason, and I'm not sure why.
Right. Let's see. Also, what do you think about Tony Klein's silence? Like, because he said nothing.
Well, he hasn't really been implicated in anything. He has a rough record, so I feel comfortable mentioning his name.
He does have a very bad record.
Yeah, he has a bad record, So when that, you're kind of a branded man when that happens, and it's unfortunate. There's no real evidence that says he's guilty of anything, so it's unfortunate that his son happens to be this disgusting, child extorting like predator. And yeah, he might not be as bad as what it is on paper, and he may not be involved, but I mean, if the Anthony Shots profile is being used by somebody else, it could very well be him.
Right. My phone keeps cutting in and out. Like, it's like really laggy.
We got you loud and clear.
I had a lot of good notes that I had written down to talk about.
Yeah, take your time. That's what we're here for. We just want to get it off our chest, and that's what we do here at this channel. Is we talk a lot about the
Right.
Delphi case.
I got a lot of good stuff written down.
Yeah, take your time, man. We'll see if we can figure it all out.
Last time I spoke to you, it wasn't so laggy, and now it's just really, really laggy. Like when you start talking, like it's in and out, like every word you say.
Yeah, we're nice and clear on this end. I don't know. Do you want to jump out and try to come back in again?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
All right, we'll see you soon. Yeah, this guy Microwave, he called in a week and a half back. So that was a good chat. And what he's saying is I kind of see where he's going. And those are great questions. Because I mean, there's nothing really tying Tony Klein to any of this other than him basically being guilty of I guess secondhand with all the child porn stuff. Sharing that song at the beginning of the live stream was by The Eaters. At the beginning of the live stream was by The Eaters. Microwave, you there?
Well, that should sound bad. You make it challenges.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Yeah, I know. You're still really laggy. And I don't know why.
Do you have
Okay. So
I would shut down your YouTube. Close the YouTube down if it's on.
hold on.
That might help you. How are we sounding now? Oop, I think we lost him. Brock Landers, there is a link at the top of the page. And if I have any mods willing to go ahead and post that. But it should be pinned right to the very top near where the poll is. And make sure you guys vote on that poll. We're going to take that down and go over those results here in a minute. We lost Microwave. We'll see if he'll call right back. And if you call back, you sound good on our end. So if you just want to ask your questions or whatever, I'm sure the chat and myself will be happy to see what we can come up with. Yeah, he was definitely comfortable with that. He crossed the bridge. and he crossed the creek where the sandbar was, and the sandbar wasn't really exposed at the time. So I'm assuming that's why they think he's local. You know, why would he choose those two strategic points? You know, the bridge and then the sandbar. What's up, Obsessed? Hey, Miss Thang. How you doing? Thank you, D. Click that link if you want to call in. Right now, we're just hanging out. The only things I really wanted to go over was what Kim Riley said about the searchers urinating and contaminating the crime scene, basically. So it doesn't take a brain surgeon to say, hey, look, there's a search party going on for the girls that were just killed. Let's go out there and contaminate the crime scene. You know, we'll sneak away. On top of that, I also wanted to talk about how Keegan Klein was trying to throw friend number one under the bus. You guys still talk about that? Is that a thing? I mean, if Anthony Shots is connected, and then you got Keegan Klein who created the Anthony Shots, and he's saying, why are you guys not looking at friend one? And they're like, oh, well, he's cleared. All right. Looks like we have somebody calling in. Let's see what's going on here. Hello.
Hi, I just want to say a couple things to you and then I'll get off here so we can discuss it.
Sure.
You know how that Texas shooter used Yubo? You've seen that, right?
I didn't know that. I haven't been looking into the whole Texas shooter thing too much. That stuff is just hard to wrap my mind around.
Well, what makes it weirder is, yellow is now called Yubo, right?
Yeah, from my understanding.
Okay. Anthony Shots was connected to the yellow app, right?
Correct.
And in Texas, that shooter was discussing what he was going to do with people in France and Germany and Italy, and they're all coming forward. So my thought is, wow, here we are again, somebody using a live stream app to kill somebody, just like the kid used Twitch up in New York when he killed those black people. So from what I'm understanding, Kagan's birthday was Friday. He turned 28. And he was also freaking out because they were watching the news and they saw where the guy in Texas was using the yellow app. So my thing is, if the yellow app is connected to Anthony Shots, I wonder how it was used. How many people were watching this happen? Because we know, yes, that's where I go with this. That's where my mind is
I've never thought of that.
Oh, yeah, because think about it. Why is something used? Like, if you use a pair of tongs or if you use a spatula, it has a use. So the yellow app was a live streaming app. So how many people were watching this go down?
Yeah, but Stranger says far-fetched, saying, yeah, it's a good idea and it's a good avenue to look down, but is there anything really pointing at that? It's definitely a possibility, and it's a troubling thought because we all have considered the whole snuff thing. This would be much more simpler than a whole production, or video equipment.
Right.
You're simply using your phone and you're streaming.
Yeah, because for a long time I wanted to think that, well, was this sold for money? Because money's a big motivator. Was this money oriented? But if you take that out, now with this Texas shooter, he was just a pissed off guy. Ha ha, I'm going to kill these, people. So, but in my mind, we already know that this thing is connected to the yellow app. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know how it was used. And that's where it gets real sinister. How many people were, because, you can watch this. And what would you be watching? Them get killed. I mean,
maybe
it's
pay
scary.
for kind of like how I share this link with you guys. If let's say somebody pays me money, I'll share the link with you, and you'll have access to the stream, something along those lines.
Right, because they have been shut down in Australia and Ireland and so many different cases. If you Google later on when you're done, many, many people have been killed online. And like these two kids in Italy, 19 and 14 were watching and they got to choose what was done to the victim. And my thing about the girls is really, what could a 13 and a 14-year-old do that was so egregious that they've got to die? How did it jump from, hey, I want some nudie pictures, girls, to, hey, I'm going to kill you? And I bet you at 8:07 a.m., when she's still talking to the Anthony Shots profile the morning of, he knew.
Up until
Yeah, they knew what they were going to do to them, but why? That gets lost in all of it. I don't even
see
think about like, yeah,
to
go
me
ahead.
it's an easy answer. It's a spiritual answer, and I don't want to get too much into that, but it all comes from a spiritual place. In my opinion, we're not up against flesh and blood. We're up against evil spirits and yeah,
Incarnate evil.
yeah.
But
Because these
hey,
kids, these like the school shooter, those types of people, they always
mhm,
remind me of they come from a broken home. They're on
yep, the
certain
underlying, yeah,
medications, heavy medications.
and
You know, yeah.
the underlying connection is they've all been wronged in some way, and now I'm going to wrong you. Hey, and I want to say
Hmm.
one more thing before I go, real quick.
Sure.
Daddy-O is still calling him on the video, and they have a device in jail called chirping. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Daddy's still going in there. Don't let nobody fool you. We know that. He's going
Oh, is
in
that
there.
true?
Yes, it is, sir. Yes. And listen, can you imagine if they really have that trial in September? Can you just imagine if he doesn't take a plea deal? How big this is going to be? And can you imagine Tony Klein going in and out of that courtroom to support his son? It's not going to happen. How weird.
Well, it's very possible that Keegan Klein is a lone killer here. So he's not going to
That's,
take a plea deal if he's the guy. He's not going to say, "All right, give me 50 years. Okay, the killer's me." You know what I mean? He's not going to do that.
yeah.
Um, and to me, there's a high likelihood that he acted alone. He somehow created an alibi, and he went and did this. He was ready to kill, and he, for whatever his reasons were,
Yeah, because we already know
possibly.
from your, remember we know from your show that Kayla girl or one of the girls that showed up said, yeah, it was him that showed up. And I thought
Yeah.
of something else too. The other night I was watching Psycho. I had my nieces and nephews over, and you know how in the end it ends up he is both Norman Bates and the mother. I thought, God, what if Kagan is both Anthony Shots and himself? You know, it's so weird.
Well, he kind of gets into that. He could have lost touch with reality long ago. He uses two phones. He acts like he's a young girl. So he's almost like he's got multiple personalities, right? He's playing this
Yeah.
young girl character. He's gaining the trust of people, and he's staying with it. He's going for long periods of time gaining their trust, and only when the time is right, he hands over the call to my father or my brother, who is also himself, and he starts playing the secondary character,
Hey, and I
so
want,
who, so it's
before,
really he's basically insane.
yeah, because before I wanted to go, I want to ask you this. You or any of your colleagues, have you tried to write him or do a video call? Because I know people that have. And he,
Well, I
that's,
don't have colleagues. I'm literally a guy that has a microphone and a computer and an opinion. The only thing I'm doing here
no,
that's
no,
important is
no,
the
no, I
platform.
mean, yeah, because I did. I wondered if anybody we know have tried to get a video call or anything with him.
I know that they're behind the scenes. I hear that people are trying, and they are having some success. I think that people that are close to us in our little corner of the Delphi stuff that we try to cover and keep people updated on, there's people that are communicating with them, I believe.
Yep, because I'm just going to end this and just say to you, yeah, dad goes in there and yeah, dad puts money on the books and they keep a real close eye on his chirping device. And that's just, you know, what they call their little texting device, which shocks me. I can't believe they have access to just text whenever, you know, they better keep an eye on this. But the main reason I called is because isn't it crazy how the Yellow app and all of that was connected? So.
And I never thought of that. I never thought of like a live stream type situation.
Oh yeah, because that's what it's for, and they've already said that's what's involved. So hey, I'm gonna have to leave the convo, but I'll come back in later.
All right, Shelby, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, pretty good call, guys. Pretty good call. Pretty good points. The possibilities, the theories, regards to the new information, which is actually the newest information, the Yellow Yubo app. I know that there was some discussion of being tied to other countries and things like that. So this stuff is really strange, and that might all tie into the information that they actually have. You know, they don't seem too worried about the stuff that's coming out with Ron Logan. They don't seem to be too concerned about the Anthony Shots information. It seems like they have the real information they're holding real close. They even possibly might just be wondering if they can build a stronger case, if somehow they can tie these things to their person of interest, so to speak. And I want to give a shout out to Glenn. Hey, man. Thanks for finding some time to join and support today. Guarantee you're busy this weekend. So if anybody wants to follow up on that caller, feel free. The link is pinned to the top. We're probably going to hang out for another hour and really talk about nothing. But if you got something that is on your mind, now's your chance. Hit the link, buddy. Hit the link. So let's take a look at a picture from early 2018. Keegan Klein and friend one hanging out. This is the person he moved to Vegas with, and who he accuses, or not accuses, but says if anybody was using his phone, it would be this guy. And the interesting thing about this photo here is how slim. I mean, well, Keegan, he doesn't look slim, but he looks like he's bridge guy slim. You know, a little spare tire going on. All right, looks like we got a caller here. Is this Brian?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Great, Brian. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
I was just kind of curious on what your thoughts were. A lot of people have theories on, you know, the exit route being the cemetery and also backtracking to come out at the other bridge that's on the main highway or whatever. But what if he went the other way? The other way, to me, in my personal opinion, would make sense, because then he would not possibly run into anybody. If
When you say the other, are you saying east towards Wilson Bridge?
Yes.
It's very possible. If this was a planned out murder, I think that's what would take place. Yeah. I agree with that, honestly. But right now, I don't think it was a planned out murder. I think this was a planned out encounter that turned into a murder, possibly.
Right. So you think something went wrong, or?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was a young boys. I think Valentine's Day has a lot to do with it. I'm thinking maybe even rejection. Maybe a word of a new guy, this Anthony Shots person being mentioned. In the transcript, law enforcement tells him that he did, in fact, win the heart of Libby. She was completely fooled by the persona. So she could have been breaking up with other boyfriends. She could have been saying, and I'm off the market. I found this great guy, and then there could be this other love interest who just happens to have, a crazy temper and possibly connected family. And there's your answer.
Right. Do you excuse me, in your opinion, do you think Bridge Guy is a young guy?
Yes, I do.
Interesting. Do you think they know who Bridge Guy is, but maybe not the other person involved?
I think they are pretty sure who he is. And I think they know it's a group of people. And I think the Ron Logan stuff and the Anthony Shot stuff is just kind of like their way of building a solid case without needing the DNA. That's
Right.
what I think they're doing. They're trying to build something that they can work with because the DNA has been tainted or the crime scene was contaminated, something along those lines.
How does the animal hair come into this? I mean, can they match it like they could human hair? I mean, or how does that work?
Well, we don't know if it's animal, it's unidentified hair. Um, yeah, I'm sure they can compare it pretty easily, especially if they had a sample, let's say, that rubbed off on from the killer's jacket to one of the girls' clothing, and then they actually have the animal to compare the hair to under a microscope. I'm sure they could do that pretty easy.
Right. I also want to kind of get your opinion on the staging. Now, I've done research, staging and posing is two different things. Now, staging to make it look like it was something different, I don't understand how you can do that when what I believe is they were stabbed. That's just my theory.
Yeah, I agree. I think that as well.
I don't understand how you could stage that to look like, a natural cause of death or something. You know what I mean? I don't understand that.
I don't think that was the purpose of the staging. I think the staging was either done to mislead law enforcement, or maybe it was just something that was done that meant something personally to the killers that just doesn't really make sense to us or law enforcement or anybody until they catch these people, and then they'll say, well, the reason I did that is because that means something to our family, or I read it in a book, or some occult relating. Like, we really don't know. It could be something strange, it could be something misleading, or it could be something that's misunderstood. But
Right.
the staging part, it could also be two separate crime scenes that were fairly close, and then somebody just trying to maybe consolidate the crime scene and make it less visible. And while doing that, they took some type of sick pleasure, and while doing something like that.
Right. Do you think that there's a second person that is somehow caught on that 43-second video?
I'm not sure. They do say,
I keep going back to the press conference and him saying you can't see what's over here and you can't see what's over here.
Yeah, to the left or to the right. That's exactly what I was just going to say. So that's what he's telling us. He's telling us that there's evidence that only the killer would know that's to the left and to the right. What that is, we don't know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, man. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, good questions, Brian. I really appreciate that. Well, that was wonderful. Some really good questions, some factual questions, some thought-provoking questions. So I want to thank you, Brian, for calling in and taking the time to go over some of those things. I thought that was important. So good stuff. Thank you. Yep, mean kids, mean teens theory. That's kind of where I'm at now, especially with the Ron Logan information coming out of that probable cause affidavit. On one hand, we hear some of what we believe to be the coroner's reporting, mixed with stuff that's included in the probable cause affidavit for Ron Logan. And they're kind of contradictory, but I mean, the affidavit states no fighting. No fight, no struggle. So it's a little bit confusing. It makes you wonder if they knew their killers, or they were expecting their killers, or they were open to meeting the killer. You know, this is a meeting. Let's see how it goes. Corinne Marshall says, how about the person who had something wrong with their car, seen a witness, was waiting for Bridge Guy to pick him up and remove him from the area quickly? With or without the girl, just a thought. Yeah, it's possible. Panicked, needed a ride, came back for his vehicle later. Didn't want to exit the woods because he was covered in blood. Yeah, this definitely reeks of a fantasy killing. You know, if this was something that was pre-planned, you know, you can have somebody even go out there into the woods, you know, put flowers, chocolates, you know, will you be my Valentine? Because when you're in high school, that stuff happens all the time. You know, junior high, high school, when you ask somebody to be your Valentine, you would like go get permission from their parents, and you'd put rose petals all over the place. Like, it was a big deal. Now, if someone was to do that privately and get laughed at, you know, imagine if these girls laugh right at their face, you know, like, I would never be your Valentine. Like, you're disgusting. Boom, blackout from that point on. And maybe some of the staging and that stuff has to do with something he was planning, unrelated to what ended up being a murder. Revenge killing. Yeah, we hear that there was a fight, you know, teenage fights. To parents and adults, it means nothing. But when you're there living it as a 14-year-old, the world is crumbling and you have nobody to turn to. Because to your parents, you're still a baby, you know. Like, we hear Kelsey and Liberty's relationship, we hear about it all the time. It was going through a transition where Kelsey seemed to be expecting all of the same things, but Libby wasn't providing the same amount of openness and trust because she's going through changes. You know, you're up against the world at that age. I remember it. I had a lot of trouble at that age. So I have a little more insight onto alternative theories, because I was that alternative child, you know, who came home, had straight A's, asked for $5, but then would leave the house, you know, drop my pants low, turn my hat around, and take that $5 and put it on a bag of marijuana. You know, parents never knew. Yeah, and I keep hearing a rumor about Libby having a boyfriend. Does anybody know about that? Because we know Libby did. Her boyfriend's father came forward and posted some stuff, I think on, was it Instagram? Facebook? Something, where he actually mentions it. And he's like, we didn't do it. Says something about Bigfoot or whatever. Yeah, so we know about that guy, but what about Libby? You know, we know she was outgoing. How is Adam, Deb? Just because you're sick doesn't mean you can't call in, Adam. I don't know to know the motive if it's not sexual assault related. Well, you got to think, what's going to motivate first two teenage girls to cross a bridge? And then what's going to convince a man to follow them? You know, to me, it's privacy. It's, I don't know. To me, it's like just something that happens often. People that meet in private. It looks like we have somebody joining us. Let's take a look. Tattoo you, is that you?
That is me. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you?
I'm doing swell. I'm glad I could finally get on here. I don't
Okay.
have
Good to
kids
have
or
you.
hubby around. I just got me and my cat, so we're
Yep. Me
good.
too. Yep. I got the house to myself.
Hey, I like what you're saying about kids. The only thing is, okay, so there's a gun
Yep.
involved. We heard the gun thing and a knife.
How sure are
So,
we about that? About the gun?
okay, the gun, this is years, and I've been following this case since it came out. So years and years ago, there was a video. I don't know who did it. I've been trying to find it for months and months now. And you can actually hear the gun cock in the I don't know whether it was a Discovery Channel thing, but I swear, I'd bet my life on it that I heard it and could hear a gun cock audio, and I can't find it anymore. It's gone. It is gone. So unless I'm crazy, which I could be because I'm a Delphi follower, um,
Right.
um, I know it's out there somewhere. I don't know if
I've
anybody
heard about that.
else.
I've heard about what you said. I think it may have been on one of the first reportings on the new information when they played the video. I think most of them have gone back and edited it out, but when they played it originally or the original audio or something, um, they didn't edit that part out, is what I heard.
Yes, I heard it with my own ears. I did. I know I.
Okay, let's say there is a gun. What's to say he's using it to command them? What if it's just a teenager with a gun or a young man with a gun that they know and how do we know he's there? They don't know who he is on the bridge. He's using a gun that we can't really confirm as of yet 100% is there. Um, we all know that the family has mentioned to certain podcasters and YouTubers that yes, there was apparently the sound of a gun as well.
Yeah, see, I just, and I could see somebody doing that. And then I also thought many times, maybe somebody got a bunch of stuff from since you said it was Valentine's Day, somebody could have put a bunch of stuff for their loved ones in the cemetery. That could have been dragged to the kill site. Um, but I'm kind of thinking that it was planned um, ahead of time. That's where I am on all this. Um, I don't know whether it was for a movie where somebody was going to be getting paid, or a bad.
Hmm.
I don't. Or um, just I don't know. And with the reward being up, it either had to do with so much money that the reward money is nothing uh, to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
if someone took a film and sold a film, that's a lot of money. Does anybody know any people around there who suddenly started making major purchases, who started going on elaborate trips, or that's something that I haven't seen, because I've never heard that discussed.
Yeah.
It-
And it gets kind of Hollywood at that point too. Like your mind just starts to wander into this
exactly.
Hollywood production. Um, and it's just human nature. It's just natural, but
But anyway, I just I don't know. Yeah, it kind of makes you crazy and makes your brain go everywhere, because we have nothing. I mean, we really have nothing information wise on this, basically.
well, we have all this information, but it's really not telling us anything. So
But right.
it's really nothing. It's like so much, but it's nothing. If you really boil it down and break it down to to a fine powder, it really is nothing. It's all circumstantial.
And we could just go so many places with what we have, and that's where the conspiracy theories and everything start to go.
Hmm.
And it's easy to get wrapped up. It's just, I just want
It's all we
justice for the
have.
girls. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean.
that's all we have is conspiracy theories.
And do you think they're going to release the autopsy? I mean, do you have, I know you've talked to some people. Do you think that's something that's going to be coming down the road soon? And will that even be of any help?
Yeah, that sounds like something like Murder Sheets would end up releasing, like, but hopefully that's something we get to hear in the courtroom when they're when they're pointing at somebody. That's all I want.
Me
I'm
too.
just we need the mother, the father, the family member, the friend to sit in that courtroom and say, "Hey, see that guy right there? I know for a fact that he's the bridge guy. And this is why, and this is how I can prove it."
And I will have a drink and a blunt and toast on that day. Because
Yeah,
this girls
imagine.
deserve justice.
Yeah, imagine the celebration and the relief in that entire town.
Oh,
I mean, they're living with a killer right now.
and accusations, crazy accusation. I mean, everybody's been put out as a killer if you're a guy, and that, I
Yep.
mean, they need that gone. They need this guy brought to justice, and justice for those young kids.
Yeah, because they're not resting. Abby and Libby, I mean, why else would we be so obsessed? It's like they're just screaming, like, please get this over with. We're not, we can't rest until this is done.
I agree. Well, I just wanted to thank you for all you do. I'm finally glad I got a chance to talk to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, happy Memorial Weekend. I appreciate it. It was a
You.
pleasure talking with you, Tattoo. I'm
Thank
sure I'll
you.
see you.
Yes,
I'll
you
see you
will.
around.
You will. You take care, okay? Thanks, Sleuth.
All right,
Bye.
have a great one. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Another great call. Oops, sorry, Ann. Yeah, I mean, friends kill friends all the time. So I'm saying it's real easy to lose your grip on reality around the age of 14, 13. There's a lot going on. Things are changing. It's that time where you may not be confiding in your parents anymore. You're not getting that, the good leadership that you need, the good advice. Paul Eder, I haven't heard that name in a while. Oh, yep, LH. Yeah, and I mean, just because you're like a boyfriend, girlfriend, when you're that age, I mean, you have all kinds of boyfriend and girlfriends. Revenge. Yeah, the no struggle, no fight, and the amount of blood. Because, to me, it seems like a crime of passion. If you're just going to kill somebody, you don't stab them multiple times, or you don't do more than what you need to, I guess, end their life. Crime of passion, you're doing things out of anger. You're trying to prove a point. See, so we didn't see a gun, we heard what could be a gun. So there we go. We don't even know if there was a gun. For 100% sure, I think there was. I believe he had one tucked in his coat, but like I said, whenever information comes out, all that information ends up being wrong anyway. So we'll probably hang out another 10 minutes, guys. We started right off the bat. We got some great calls. Microwave never got back to us. Hopefully he can figure out, and we'll open up the lines again another time. So if you're still out there, buddy, I appreciate the effort. Glenn says, I hate to suggest this, but not long ago, I heard some teenage girls giving older men pleasure for money. Maybe they had planned to meet a guy for money. Another side of the bridge would be private. Yeah, that's horrible to think. And you don't want to tarnish the memory, and you don't want to victim shame. But at the same time, we were dealing with an unsolved crime. We don't really have a profile of this person. We don't know what was motivating him. We don't know what was motivating the girls to cross that bridge. So we need motives. Basically, one or the other would help, figure out both. Was she set up by teen girls with the help of teen boys or an older boy? Did they recruit help from somebody? Yes, Nadia. Well, I don't know for sure, but it does state that in the probable cause affidavit that they submitted to Judge Fouts. They were trying to get a search warrant to search Ron Logan's property. They had searched his home, but they were only able to do that lawfully because he was under probation or parole or something. So they needed to get a real search warrant so they could search everything on the property, because he had all these other sheds and horse barns and all kinds of stuff that they wanted to get a good look at. But he was completely cleared. It seems like they may not have trusted that he didn't know anything, because they really put the hammer down on him. But I mean, from what we can see, there was nothing tying him. Deb says, she's responding to Anna. I have heard Abby was rendered unconscious by a blow to the head first. That's what I've heard, blunt force trauma. And that would explain it if the perpetrator was walking behind them, like, come here, I'm going to show you guys something. But what it doesn't explain is why one of them was undressed, missing a shoe, and the other one wasn't. That part doesn't make sense to me. Beekeeping lady says school was out, so young kids might have flocked there. Yeah, from what we understand, there were kids there. We have some news reports where they went out there and they questioned a couple young people, saying that they heard of a man in black and that a lot of their friends were there. I think even Kelsey said when I dropped them off, there was a group of young people. So yeah, there's a lot more going on there than what we understand. But if all these people were underage at the time, that's probably the reason we don't have access to that part of the story. I'll have to take a look at that, Jules. Hey, Mandy. I don't know. I keep hearing this name, Michaela. Garrett Kurtz said the name Michaela Hartman or something, and he was referencing a video of the murders, and apparently that was a person that was speaking about it. But that's all I know of it. That's on Open Secrets video. She's interviewing him, and they're talking about possible video of the murders and how people were telling him that one exists, and she was somebody that Open Secrets should talk to if she would like to know more, is what Garrett Kurtz told her. What's up, Joe? Everything is great, man. I hope everything's good with you. Yeah, motive is everything, understanding this crime, but it may not figure that out until this guy gets pointed out or somebody brings him down. But yeah, it definitely seems personal to me. Crossing that creek to find privacy. Shows that they're, they're local to the area. Yeah, the staging. It's almost like they're trying to tarnish the memory. They're almost trying to fix some kind of anger they have, I'll show you type of thing. No, Beach Fairy says, was a description given of the guy in the ski mask incident? I'm sure he was, but I would love to know what that description is. Hey, Pookie. Yeah, I remember there was a lot of talk about the Packers plant, but I mean, you got the railroad tracks right there too. It'd be pretty cold to be a hobo at that time. Might be a good place to stop and make camp. There's a campground underneath that bridge. There's a table out there on one of the sandbars. There's a little camping area because that's not private property. When you're on the actual creek or on the easement, you can camp there. You can walk there. You could walk that whole creek back there if you wanted to. You would just have to stay, 2 to 6 feet on the shoreline. Will do, Frank. Corinne Marshall says, could they have been set up by someone from school? That's what I'm wondering. If she was having a fight with a teenager, she's fighting over a boy, and let's say Libby, for whatever reason, comes out victorious in this fight. She gets the boy, she comes up out on top. Who knows the type of rage these children have? We showed the Scream murders. Those 2 boys were out of their mind. We showed the Slender Man killings, where 2 13-year-old girls try to kill their 13-year-old friend. I mean, this stuff happens. Yeah. Joy Smith says Ron Logan and Anthony Shots thing is just a smokescreen. The whole Anthony Shots, Keegan Klein stuff is extremely compelling, but it doesn't. I don't see any effort from law enforcement to try to stifle the information or keep it private, or maybe they're just not. Maybe they're using reverse psychology. Like if we don't say anything about it, it won't get worse or something. But the truth is, it's all circumstantial. And Amanda, we know that with the Slender Man attack, where they tried to kill their friend, they left her there. They stabbed her a whole bunch of times and they left him. So I mean, that could have been what happened here. Just a real fast, brutal attack, and then they panicked and left. And maybe the staging is just something simple and not complex at all. All right, guys, we are at the 1 hour mark. That's what I wanted to stop at, unless we have somebody else that wants to call in. Otherwise, we will be ending this live stream here in about 5 minutes. Hey, what's up, Ophelia? I believe one of them received blunt force trauma. And that's what I'm thinking. If they trusted somebody enough to give that person their back, and then that person was to just, let's say, attack one of them, Abby, for instance, and she's knocked out, then I can see him, going and doing all the stuff with the clothes and spending more, giving more attention, let's say, to Liberty. Yeah. And it appears he's clutching something into his jacket, the shape of a gun. Sometimes it appears like a revolver. Others it appears like a Glock or a squared gun. Yeah, if you're attacked from behind, boom, nobody would have heard you. Abby would have probably just fell over, and Liberty would have turned around and been like, what was that? And then boom, she was hit too. But why were they across the creek? You know, that's the part that makes my mind melt. Why are you across the creek? Why is your shoe on the other side of the creek? Did you take off your own shoes to cross the creek? And if you did, why did you do that? Why did you take your time to cross the creek with somebody that eventually killed you? Oh, Mandy, you're saying that's the same Michaela? Yikes. Occult staging, maybe something carved in the wood. Who knows? So I definitely want to give a big shout out to everybody that called in. All the questions and topics that were brought up were incredible. Made for a really good live stream today. So I appreciate that. So I think we'll try it again here real soon around this time. Take off the subscribers mode, open up the lines. I think it went well. We'll do another experiment, at a later time and day and see what kind of crazies show up. But I think that is going to wrap it up, guys. Let's go through a few more of these comments. Yeah, I'm trying to stick with it, Joe. I want to use my stubbornness for good. If I'm going to be stubborn, it might as well be to bring attention to this case. And I don't listen to people in my ear. I'm my own man. You're welcome, Susan. Good to see you again. Good to see you. I don't think they would be inspecting that bridge. Yeah, MS-13 is a big problem in the Midwest as well. They definitely set up shop out there. I was watching a documentary the other day where they were talking about MS-13 in Indiana. And they go there for the meth, to sell meth. Yeah, religious motivations. That could be, the hands across the chest. Could be like Fig is saying, coins in the eyes, something along those lines. Stephanie says, I'm not convinced Keegan is the bridge guy. I'm not either, but it's very likely that it was him and him alone. Love you too. Yep, non-secular. And it's funny because I made a video, one of my first videos, and I found an article from the Indy Star, which is the only place I've ever found it, where they interviewed Ives, and he put in there, non-secular. And I had a copy of the article and I lost it, but I can't find that anymore. So it seems like they went around and asked whoever was who was privy to that information or reporting on it was removing it. Killed in the creek? That could be very possible. That could explain why nobody heard them either, if their heads were being held underwater. Yeah, what do we do? Where do you want me to go? And he says, go down the hill. Yeah, I've read that Keegan Klein transcript. I read it this morning again. I have 4 folders filled of information I was going to go over with you guys, but we got tied down with calls, which I was hoping. But my backup plan was just to go over all the different topics. Keegan Klein talking to Libby. Keegan Klein tied to the ski mask. Keegan Klein basically trying to convince law enforcement to look into friend one. Keegan Klein and discussing his drug dealer friend who he didn't mention in his first interview with law enforcement, and then also meeting people in Las Vegas, and then the Skype information where basically he would catfish people. He would get these young girls on the hook, and then sounds like he would transfer them over either to himself, calling himself the father, or over to Tony Klein. Could the bridge guy have been the boy the alleged kids were fighting over, hence the fake Anthony Shots account, and BG knew about a meetup? Yeah, it's possible. Could even be an ex-boyfriend. Like, oh, you're going to dump me for this, this model or whatever. Or you're going to steal my model boyfriend after I introduce you to him. Who knows? When you're at the age of 14, it seems ridiculous looking back, but when you're in that age and you're in that mind frame, like, the world is crumbling. The pressure seems real. As fake as it is, it seems real. Thanks, Deb. I love having you in the chat. Yeah, people do camp there. Thank you, Purdue. Thanks for calling in, Tattoo. It's good to put a voice to your cool logo there. Rolling Stones. Yeah. I mean, the scariest thing is if they didn't know this person. I'm hoping it happened and they didn't see it coming. It was just completely by surprise and it was quick. So it scares me to think that somebody came and just terrorized them, to just go from having a good day to like this is really happening. The helplessness. Oh, good, Beach Fairy. I'm trying to figure out the best time because this is a good time for me usually during the week. I can find some time, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours I can get away without it really affecting my work week. Either can I, D. Because D, when we got to really buckle down and talk about some things privately, that's where we're going to be doing it. You got to start avoiding these haters. Mm-hmm. Sources with apostrophe or quotations. Sorry. MS-13 is a gang from El Salvador connected to the Mexican mafia. Yeah, Mexican cartels and California street gangs running the United States drug trade through the U.S. border. And I'm sure they're making that stuff here too. Hey, Digital, good to see you. Yeah, they're big in California. Yeah. Keegan didn't look too out of shape. Like, he looks out of shape. All right, I think I got all of your comments. Religious motive, non-secular. I wouldn't, it's just hard to say, really. Anytime, Deb, anytime. I think one did. I think one of her friends who was actually supposed to, I heard was supposed to go hang out with Libby, told her to stop talking to some guy, some 19-year-old. Yeah, it is possible. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to get out of here and see if I can find me some lunch. Let you guys get back to your indie. And I'll reach out to members at some point today, and we'll see if we can get a schedule going for next week. And then I'll also probably do a couple more streams like this throughout the week. So I'll see you guys then. Be safe, no drinking and driving, and stay chill. Bye, guys.